around June or May, one of my vice presidents, a woman named Joan Corey out of my local, she sits on our general executive board, was at an event with Vice President Harris. And, they're going through the line to get the picture, and Joan introduces herself to Vice President Harris, says, "I'm Joan Corey. I'm on the general executive board for the Teamsters." She goes, "Teamsters? You better get on board. You better get on board. Better get on board soon." Says it to my vice president.
To her face?
To her face. So she comes back. We have the meeting the next day.
Damn.
And she tells me this.
I thought I was arrogant. That's really arrogant.
So she tells me this. So I call up Marty Walsh. He wasn't the Secretary of Labor, but, he was pushing hard for us to make the endorsement. I'm like, let me ask you a question, Marty. Excuse my French. Who does this fucking lady think she is? Like, if I want support from any organization, I am not going to point my finger in someone's face and say, you better get on board or else. But that's the attitude of this whole party. So fast forward, she finally...
Hold on. Can we now definitively say, why I like post-election? Because for the entire year or two up to the midterms, we get content so that we can get context. Now, when this whole election was going out, I don't know if y'all remember or not, but early in the race, the UAW President Shawn Fain goes against his members, which the majority of the members was rocking out with Donald Trump. There was a lot that was still rolling with Kamala Harris because, they just want to be on the Democratic plantation. I'm not going to get a context of why they should have, because it doesn't even matter anymore. The election is already over. However, there was a lot of people that was rocking out with Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And this is very early, even during Biden, right? When Biden was running. But then eventually Biden obviously dropped out of the race. Shawn Fain just moved his endorsement over to Kamala Harris against the wishes of the majority of his members. And this is the UAW. And obviously we know what happened after that. Trump just absolutely mopped the floor with her. Bad decision. I personally believe Shawn Fain was trying to leverage and finesse his way into a cabinet seat or to be a part of the Democratic administration that was incoming in January 20th, right? But we were all laughing our butts off because the Teamsters refused to endorse the Democratic Party, which basically just said that they were endorsing a Republican Party. To refuse to endorse somebody that you've traditionally rocked with, because he's a Democrat. The Teamsters president is a Democrat, and he refused to endorse the Democratic Party. And now we're getting the context because she was so arrogant and so stupid that she thought that she could bully them into getting an endorsement and saying, y'all better get on board. Y'all better get on board, which just shows you that the Democratic Party was so arrogant and they thought that they controlled everything, that it didn't matter what they did, that people were going to stay loyal. And the only people that stayed loyal to the Democratic Party, majority of which was black people. Black women and black men in the majority, the statistics are showing, are the only people, regardless of the fact that she was not humble. You could see it all over her. She presented herself a certain way, and it didn't matter. You could see that she thought that she deserved, regardless of the fact of the job that they did and how much they ruined America and immigration and all of this stuff. You get on board. They never felt as though they had to earn your vote. And again, I always bring this back to black culture because black people and women are the only people that they don't have to earn your vote. They can throw you crumbs. They can say, hey, we're going to change marijuana laws for y'all or whatever. They expect it, and they rightfully so expect it, and they anticipate it. But there are certain organizations and certain people that they could not bully. And this is one of the situations now that we're getting the context of the Teamsters Union boss that said, I'm not like Shawn Fain in the UAW. You don't tell me what to do. We control whether or not you get into office because we are the people that are gauging what our members want, and that's who we're going to rock with. And so they chose not to endorse the Democratic Party, and I think that is partly because of her arrogance. And so when you lean into somebody that is possibly going to be running for governor of California, all you Californians, you California raisins, that are running for governor for 2026 or president for 2028, remember how this played out and remember the sentiment of a person.
This whole party. So fast forward, she finally agrees to come after we were putting pressure on her, basically, because I was doing interviews all over the place saying, we haven't got invited to the DNC. They haven't accepted our invitation for her to come to a roundtable. So she comes to the roundtable. Same format, same questions. Rank and file members are asking her questions just like they asked every other candidate. And they were trying to negotiate with us. She only wants to answer 3 questions. We're like, there's 16 questions here. So she answers 3 of them. And on the 4th question, one of her operatives or one of her staff slips a note in front of me, this will be the last question. And it was 20 minutes earlier than the time that it was going to end.
Come on.
100%. And so, you're there trying to get our support. And her declaration on the way out was, I'm going to win with you or without you.
She thought that or said it out loud?
She said it out loud.
That's insane.
So
that's crazy behavior, actually, if you think about it.
It was insane behavior, which at that point in time, I knew she was going to lose. Me, that's just my unqualified opinion. I got a gut instinct and I'm like,
well, you turned out to be right.
Someone this arrogant, forget anything else, but you put your finger in someone's face at an Emily's List event once you find out they're with the Teamsters and you say, you better get on board or else. That's a problem. And then you come before us, you don't answer the question, you want to dictate what you're going to answer, and then you leave 20 minutes before it's over. And the one difference between all the candidates that came was that at the conclusion of all these roundtables, we had media set up. So after conclusion of meeting with Trump, I did a press conference down in the lobby of my building. Well, Donald Trump did a press conference down in the lobby of my building after he spoke. The same offer was extended to both President Biden and Vice President Harris, and they refused. So you're meeting with the biggest labor organization that you want, and you've got an opportunity for media to question you about how you felt the meeting went and what you wanted to achieve, and you don't want to speak to the media. That's a problem. But Trump, to his credit, in our building, in our foyer, had a press conference.
So you're describing the way like a rich person would talk to the housekeeper, like, how dare you question me?
Right.
You work for me.
And it's funny because they wanted to paint Trump. The image that they're painting Trump is he not interested in talking to you. You will never be able to get to the table. All of that stuff, right? Which is obviously not true. I'll be in DC in January. But they were the ones that were arrogant. They were the war party. They were the ones that said, listen, I'm going to win this with you or without you, so you better get on board. This is beautiful and crazy at the same time. Gosh.
Right. They don't realize that, and I've said this numerous times, when I'm talking to a member, whoever that member may be, regardless of race, religion, color, creed, I know that they give me the opportunity to represent them and they employ me.
Yeah.
Right? And I've said this many times. The Democrats got to understand who they work for. They work for the constituency that they represent in their communities.
Exactly.
And that's where they've lost sight of who their employer is.
Nope,
they think that the constituency should serve them.
Yep.
Exactly.
And it's disgraceful. And, what we've been saying for a year, now everybody's embracing, saying, well, the Democratic Party needs a reset. Well, where were you 9 months ago? Where were you 2 years ago? If you were really, passionate about putting up a candidate that could actually represent Democrats like they did or represent the party, why weren't you developing a plan 2.5 years ago?
Because they already felt that it didn't really matter who they put in front of you as far as the best candidate. The expectation was that you was going to roll with them anyway because you're lifetime Democrats, right? And so they don't have to earn your vote. They don't have to show up. They don't have to answer the questions. Trump answered all 16 questions. Trump answered all 16 questions and did whatever it is that he needed to do in order to get your endorsement and get your vote. And he also had credibility because he had a previous presidency that you can lean to and see whether or not he was a man of his word or not. Completely different for Kamala Harris. This is insane to even listen to this But again, this is why I like post-election interviews, because you get to see behind the scenes of what was happening, of what we predicted, what we thought was happening, but now we hearing it firsthand. Y'all let me know what y'all think inside of the chat. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off of life. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me know what you think inside of the comments. Peace.